Well, hello out there. Welcome back, everybody. Very excited. Today, we are looking at, I think, iteration 7 of our Starship. And one of the things I'm really excited about is that we've pretty much landed on final shape and shape design. And now we're starting to look at coloration. And before we jump into the feedback specifically, thank you so much, Dimitri, for turning this around. Let's just take a look at each of these and maybe just drink them in, something I like to do. One of our methods to the madness is I asked Dimitri to take the color inspiration from Dr. Bosky's palette. So here's a good image, key art image of Dr. Bosky as he's acquired this weapon called the Mammer. That's a whole different backstory. But here you can see that we brought him to final form and color. So he's got the Larkin cloaks. He's got a lot of the darks and grays. He's got this more of these purple highlights for his shirt, a little bit of the darker blues, almost blacks here for his gorget in the purple bits. We've got this tarnished gold, which is something I really enjoy that we got to. And then the way that we do metals here, we got this kind of boot plus a knee guard here. And we got this more in these kind of teal and silvers, kind of this brushed used metal look. So there are a few other bits here and there, but that was kind of the inspiration for doing our first round of color. So yeah, without further ado, let's just take a look. Let's take a look at this here. I like how these are popping. And we're going to see this primarily, I think, on darker backgrounds. So a good example of that is here's a good example of just like where we're at. This is more of a temporary concept for the adjustments to the DBK SMHUP that we're working on. So, but one of the things that I'm going for is I want to darken down the background a little bit so it's a little more muted. And then I want, I've envisioned basically the ship having these like really nice brushed metals and these more vibrant colors. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. So let's keep tracking that. But this is the sort of thinking process here. And one of the things that we do, and I'll flip to that in just a second, is I just go through and I look at each of these and I look at the different remixes in terms of kind of key palette colors. And then I pick the things that I kind of like that are working, and then we remix them again. We remix them again, and we go through iterations, just like we do that. So this is just flat coloring, nothing to do with shading or the kind of metal rendered style that we have here. To give you a good example of one of the wonderful techniques that my artist and I have worked together. He's the genius here. I just keep poking him until he comes up with something that I'm like, oh, that's the stuff. And then he somehow remembers the things that I like, and we continue to craft a style. So here is what we call the it's the sheathier. So it's like a spear and a scythe had a baby. But take a look at just how awesome this metal kind of look he's managed to really kind of come together with. And so when I envision the machinery of the Dr. Bosky universe and the metals, we have these very vibrant metals that you can see here. So I just thought I would pull it out and share that because that's one of the directions we're going. So we're not quite there yet, but we'll get there. It's one of the final techniques, and we kind of go over that a few times to try to get kind of these kind of brushed stroke and used kind of partially tarnished looking metals that we've got in the universe. So taking a look at some of these key art bits, and I know Dimitri also likes to see these on grays, which is good too, but I think we're good for the moment part. Maybe I could add one more. One layer. Sometimes I just like to see them in different colors. Let's see. Get our L Bucket. Hello, Bucket. Come on, Bucket. Let's see what you look like on white. There we go. Very good. It's interesting how, cones and rods work with the perception of color when you're looking at colors against different backgrounds, right? So often, let's take a look. Let's take a look on just black. Yeah, so we're making some good progress. Okay, so without further distraction on technique, let's take a look at this. I got other bits, turn that one off. We can leave Dr. Bosky in the space here. First of all, super excited, right? Like I always love when we first see the first version of color, because it's hard when you're looking at like concepts and you're trying to imagine what the colors look like. It's good for shape exploration and overall silhouette design. And by not dealing with color first as part of your iteration process, you aren't distracted. But it also means that certain details that you look at from the conceptual process and things with noise can be shored up sometimes by basically color, right? So like, kind of when you're looking at like these intake manifolds here, right? So, but also when you look at these in the context of darker colors, right? Then they actually pop and give accents where that little bit of noise goes quite a long way. So, all right. So with this, typically what I do is I lay down the check marks of the things I really liked, and we'll talk through the exploration bits. So kind of starting over here. In general, I like that we have a slightly darker, more of the purple in the kind of this rotary. Dimitri, I'd really like to, I think, essentially, let's see here. I'd like to also apply that. Can I apply this? Let's go one layer. Come on, layer. Let's go. One additional new layer. My scrub layer. All right. Floop. Up the top, got quite a few layers. All the check marks. I'm lazy, so I do that. So, but yeah, I was thinking that maybe we could take this purple and kind of bring this up a little bit more, kind of in this engine area, right? So it would be like almost like the underbelly of the engine, and that's way too much, but is that it carries through, and so I kind of imagine that being the under paneling. So let's see if we can give that a try there. I also really enjoyed, I think, the touch of gold on the in fin, of course, and I like the gold accents, I believe. The gold, no. So yeah, so I just like the touch of gold for the fin. I think here in general, my favorite shell coloring, yeah, just double checking because I had a couple things, I mixed them together. Let's go with this darker gray. I think in general, what I'm thinking is that the darker gray, I want to actually change to. Yeah, okay. So we'll keep the darker gray for the top fin, which I like. And let's go with, let's get another version of kind of the reds. I like the way that the red paneling progresses down through the ridge of the ship itself. It's a little bit of an accent here, of course, on this side. And then I also like that it connects kind of up to this housing for the gun turret itself. And I think that's it from there. So I covered the purple for the engine casing. Okay, and then stepping back over here, we're more in this gray, more of the gray palette here. So what I'm looking for here is I think I want to push us more towards this silver, right? Yeah, because I think the body will look cooler maybe in the silver-ish. Right now, I think we're just a tiny bit too gray. Hello. There we go. Yeah, so yeah, I'm thinking that, and some of this is shading, of course, but I'm really thinking that we're more like in the, yeah, we're probably going to be whiter, maybe into the brighter parts. Yeah, I think that'll have a nice, it'll pop a lot more, I think, with the body itself. And let's try that for the next remix. So just the body area here, of course. I think that I want to really see that kind of almost white silverish with the darker accent. So this part we keep. So here is we keep that part. I'll let you remix it a few times, right? So let's try it with the darker top here and maybe the paneling for the silver. Let's try it all silver here. Let's definitely keep the red accent and the darker gray at the top. And we'll go from there. So the other side here, I got a second opinion on this, and she was very kind and came over and said, this one looks cool. So that would be these color accents that we have, these kind of golds for both the the rotary housing for the one of the laser weapons here, plus the upper part, and then also the way that this kind of matches with the accents for the other additional laser / missile bay projectile system. And I'd like to see us, let's try the gold accents also here where we had the accents up here. It may not work as well. It'll work fine, I think, against the red here. So, and then we can try, I like in general, let's try with let's see, let's do a remix where we try the darker colors for maybe the weaponry, because they'll pop against the body here, right? So maybe we try a little bit more of the darker grays there. Let's see if we remix with that. We might still keep them in the lighter, so that'll be for the next version. Here, I like that we're carrying through the teal. And so, while I also enjoyed the darker purple, let's try a version also. I liked this kind of teal that we got here, especially when it becomes more metallic when we get to our render parts. But I also like that that while the teal accents were here, I think that the darker purple, is it the darker purple here? Let me double check. Yeah, so the darker purple to the engine housing will be, or the engine case here will be good. And let's see here, just want to make sure I got that right. So yeah, so we had the gold accents there. That will become that with the darker bits. Yeah, so let's give that a try with the inner case because it'll be more of maybe the purple. We'll see. I think in general, yeah. So if we come back over to this side, let's keep a version of the gold rotor together. I also like the little accents in the middle. We should probably remix a couple colors here. This is the weak spot on the ship, so gameplay wise, yeah. So I think it'll be nice to also signify that weak point. It might be that we maybe take these reds and we try the reds with like the inner circle is the reds. And maybe keep the gold accents and we can keep the gold rotors. We'll give that a try. It could be that it goes to teal and we stay with the purple. In general, let me see here. So yeah, so here's a good example of I like the purple inside as we talked about here. I like the gold accents. It's one of those things where with the new remixes, let's give it a chance in terms of different colors, but I think the accents will be good there. I also, because of and this might be a thing, like we should see if we can add transparency. These are basically viewing windows, right? So and a upper viewing deck, right? So but for the most part, I enjoy them being more in the grays and the whites. So I thought we would keep that there. I was kind of thinking there, but that's just a quick little note there. All right. So did I miss anything? It's like Christmas being able to see colors. All right. So let me see here. Overall, I really enjoyed, I think, the color styling. Oh, that's right. So here, instead of going, we had this here. So that'll be the whites. I wanted to see where we have the grays. I want to see if we can get a little bit closer to kind of this dark blue. It's almost like a gray, midnight blue, just a hint of blue. And wherever we're going to use the darker colors, because we have the purple and maybe we won't have it. Where else do we have the darker colors? Let me take a look. I think when we remix it, I'd still like to see maybe a version of that darker, closer to darker blue, in the as one of the elements that travels from the ship core underneath, and then the main outer rotor sprocket, I think, would be a big part of that. So, and then just as a note, so I think that with the gold, it's good. We're gonna dirty up this gold. It's gonna be a little bit more like a corrosive, have a little bit more texture to it. I like the idea that the ship sort of has pristine elements, but it's a well-used ship, right? And I think that we can have the opportunity to tell the story of the fact that the ship has been around for a long time and it's being piloted by this dude, right? Which is great. And I think that's it. Those are the main bits of feedback. To the folks out there watching right now, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down in the comments section. We try our very best to respond and respond to to respond to feedback and questions. Sometimes your feedback finds its way into the creative process. And I think those are all the big things. So yeah, we'll probably do another version or two this week. I'm really looking forward to and very excited about this aspect of the DBK SMHUP. As you can see, it's already started to pivot from where we were, as I showed a little bit earlier. Just a concept for the background itself, right? I'm working on this weird bendy laser design. So, and you can see some of the enemy types that we have in there, like the demon wheel. Like, while it's not moving right now, we've moved to this kind of horizontal auto scrolling camera. It'll also go vertical as well. But yeah, and just a very rough concept of maybe the interior of the first boss that DBK is going to go through the world and fight. So, which is going to be in this kind of subterranean, if you will, a war, like it used to be a pretty cool city. The city was torn down, and there's remnants of that, which you can see, of course. And then the overall cavernous nature of the backgrounds or the environment itself are also they're basically the fossilized ruins of a demonic titan. His name's Sriva. So we've got him in one of our animated shorts. So all this cool backstory and stuff, which some of that might take form in the game, but at least I know it's there. So, and we'll make sure we pay tribute to it. So I think those are the big things. Very much appreciate it. Much love. Thank you, everybody. And I'll talk to you soon. Ciao. Ciao. Wow. Yes.